In recent interviews, Tracy openly admitted that life with Parkinson's is a journey that is extremely difficult and full of challenges. Not only for Michael, but also for everyone who loves him. She believes that many people focus solely on the resilience of the patient, while overlooking the pressures carried by the family members and caregivers behind the scenes. There are days when everything goes smoothly, but there are also days when anxiety, exhaustion, and feelings of helplessness arrive all at once. What made Tracy's comments attract so much attention was their honesty. She did not use elegant phrases to romanticize her life. She did not claim that love makes every hardship disappear. She did not insist that they have always been strong. Instead, she acknowledged that there were deeply painful periods, times when the entire family had to learn how to adapt to a reality they had never wished for. Meanwhile, Michael himself has begun speaking about the future in a very different way from before. Whereas years ago, he often tried to maintain an optimistic outlook in public, he no longer feels the need to pretend that everything will somehow turn out perfectly. He understands that his condition continues to progress day by day and that new limitations will continue to emerge. On one occasion, Michael shared that he no longer views life through illusions of a perfect ending. What he hopes for is neither a miracle nor immortality. His greatest wish is simply to pass away peacefully when the time comes, without pain, without tragedy, and without becoming a burden to the people he loves. It was a reflection that left many people speechless, because it came from someone who had spent more than 30 years confronting a disease that had already taken so much from his life. Yet even within these deeply realistic admissions, there is no sense of surrender. Tracy and Michael do not deny the hardships, but neither do they allow those hardships to define their entire lives. They continue living one day at a time, continue finding joy in their family, their grandchildren, and in the ordinary moments that might once have been taken for granted. And perhaps it is through those years of hardship that the greatest secret behind their enduring marriage emerges. Not romance, not beautiful promises, but the way both of them managed to remain themselves while continuing to choose each other every single day. When people speak about the nearly 4 decades of marriage shared by Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan, many assume the secret lies in unconditional sacrifice. But according to Michael himself, the answer is different. In his view, what helped them survive the hardest years was not one person living entirely for the other, but both of them preserving their own identity. Michael has repeatedly emphasized that Tracy never allowed herself to disappear into her husband's story. Even while his life became defined by illness, media attention, and large-scale advocacy work, Tracy maintained a world of her own. She had her career, her relationships, her interests, and her goals that existed independently of Michael's fame. That allowed their marriage to remain a partnership between 2 spouses, rather than becoming a relationship between a caregiver and a patient. In many families facing long-term illness, that boundary gradually disappears. Life begins revolving around medical appointments, medication, and daily healthcare needs. But Tracy understood that if she lost herself, she would no longer have the strength to accompany her husband on the long road ahead. So she chose to be present without erasing who she was. Michael has always expressed a special admiration for her because of that. He once said that one of Tracy's greatest qualities is that she never does anything for public attention. There are no carefully prepared emotional speeches, no public displays designed to attract media coverage. Everything she does takes place quietly within the ordinary rhythm of daily life. She is the woman who sat beside him during sleepless nights after his Parkinson's diagnosis. She is the person who appeared in hospital rooms after lengthy operations. She is the one who helped him stand up again after countless falls the world never witnessed. When the camera stopped rolling and the audience went home, Tracy was still there. Perhaps that is why, whenever Michael is asked about the greatest achievement of his life, he rarely mentions Hollywood, blockbuster films, or prestigious awards. Instead, he talks about his family. And when he speaks about Tracy, he calls her the greatest gift life has ever given him. What is remarkable is that after everything they have endured, their love was not built on extraordinary moments, but on thousands of ordinary days strung together. Days when they faced reality side by side, laughed whenever they could, and kept moving forward when life became difficult. It is the kind of love that is not loud, but strong enough to survive challenges that many people could scarcely imagine. And while their marriage continues to inspire millions of people, Michael J. Fox is also leaving behind a legacy far greater than the roles that first made him famous. If Michael J. Fox's story ended with his battle against Parkinson's disease, he would probably be remembered as a symbol of resilience. But what makes his journey even more remarkable is the way he transformed personal suffering into motivation to improve the lives of millions of others. After publicly revealing his illness, Michael realized that he could use the most valuable thing fame had given him: public attention. Rather than stepping away from the spotlight, he chose to enter a new battle. In 2000, he founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation with the goal of advancing research and finding more effective treatments for Parkinson's disease. What began as a personal effort quickly grew into the world's largest privately funded Parkinson's research organization. Over the years, his foundation has raised more than $2.5 billion for research programs, clinical trials, and medical technology development. Those funds have not only supported scientists, but have also brought hope to millions of patients and families living with the disease. What is particularly noteworthy is that Michael has never viewed himself as a hero. He often says that he is simply doing what he can. But to the Parkinson's community around the world, he has become the face of hope, someone who proves that a devastating diagnosis does not have to be the end of a meaningful life. That dedication was ultimately recognized at the highest level. In January 2025, Michael J. Fox was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States. It was recognition not only of his artistic career, but also of his extraordinary contributions to science, medicine, and the Parkinson's community. During that prestigious ceremony, the spotlight once again turned towards Michael. But just as in so many other important moments throughout his life, Tracy Pollan was there, not at center stage, not in front of the applause, but in the front row, quietly watching the man she had stood beside for nearly 40 years. The scene brought to mind a very different day in 1991. There were no medals, no applause, and no praise from the outside world. There was only a young husband who had just received the worst news of his life, and a wife sitting silently beside him. More than 30 years later, Tracy's position has not changed. She is still there, witnessing both the victories and the losses, just as she has been since the very beginning. Perhaps that is what makes the story of Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan resonate so deeply with people. Not because they defeated illness, not because they possess a perfect marriage, but because they chose to keep walking forward together, even when life unfolded very differently from what they had imagined. And after all the films, awards, and historic achievements, perhaps Michael J. Fox's greatest legacy does not exist on a screen. It exists in the way he faced adversity, and in the story of two people who walked through darkness together without ever letting go. If the story of Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan has given you something to reflect on, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy inspiring real-life stories about resilience, love, and extraordinary lives, do not forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss future videos. Thank you for watching. For more than 30 years, Michael J. Fox's marriage has been regarded as one of Hollywood's rare, enduring love stories. But behind the smiles in front of the cameras and the image of a happy family that the public has always seen, there are hidden realities that very few people have ever heard about. Recently, Michael J. Fox's wife spoke publicly for the first time about her honest thoughts on their marriage journey spanning more than 3 decades. These revelations not only shed light on the challenges they have overcome together, but also surprised many people with what truly took place behind the doors of this famous family. So what helped them stay together for so many years? What difficulties pushed them to their limits? And why have these recent remarks captured the attention of millions of people around the world? Let us explore the emotional story behind one of Hollywood's most admired marriages. In the mid-1980s, Hollywood was witnessing the rise of a charismatic young star. At that time, Michael J. Fox was not merely a rising actor, but a symbol for an entire generation of young audiences. With his mischievous smile, seemingly endless energy, and natural acting ability, he quickly became one of the most sought-after names in the industry. Yet amidst all the bright lights of fame, there was one meeting that no one could have imagined would change his life forever. In 1985, on the set of the hit sitcom Family Ties, Michael met Tracy Pollan. On screen, Tracy played Ellen Reed, the girlfriend of Michael's character, Alex P. Keaton. At first, theirs was simply a professional relationship like that of countless other actors. They read scripts together, performed scenes together, and spent long days on set. But the more time they spent together, the more they discovered qualities in each other that Hollywood rarely offered: sincerity and a sense of peace. Tracy was not dazzled by Michael's fame. While millions of fans saw him as an idol, she saw a completely different person behind the applause. He was a funny young man, occasionally awkward, and always trying to make the people around him laugh. It was precisely that ordinariness that became the bond between them. At the time, Tracy's personal life still had unfinished chapters. The two kept their distance and continued along their separate paths, but fate seemed unwilling to let the story end there. After Tracy's previous relationship came to an end, they met again. This time, everything was different. There were no more hesitations or barriers, and they officially began a real-life romance. Their love grew rapidly amid the relentless pace of Hollywood life. In 1988, Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan were married. It was not a marriage built on celebrity glamour, but on friendship, trust, and the feeling that they had found their true life partner. The years that followed felt like a dream. Michael continued to conquer the film world following the tremendous success of Back to the Future. His name appeared on magazine covers, television programs, and cinema screens across the globe. Meanwhile, their small family continued to grow. One by one, their 4 children were born, bringing a sense of fulfillment that fame could never replace. From the outside, it seemed like the life anyone would wish for: a brilliant career, a happy family, and a bright future ahead. But sometimes the greatest upheavals arrive precisely when people believe everything is at its most perfect. And then, while Michael J. Fox stood at the peak of his fame before the age of 30, a slight tremor in his left hand signaled the beginning of a battle that would last for decades. In 1991, Michael J. Fox was only 29 years old. It was the age at which most actors were just entering the most exciting phase of their careers. He possessed everything a Hollywood star could dream of: worldwide fame, lucrative contracts, and a happy family waiting for him whenever he returned home. No one, including Michael himself, imagined that his life was about to take a completely different direction. One morning, he noticed a slight tremor in his left hand. At first, it was such a minor movement that it barely seemed worth noticing. Michael assumed it was caused by fatigue, a demanding work schedule, or prolonged stress. But the tremors did not disappear. They returned more frequently, quietly and persistently, like a warning he did not yet want to believe. After a series of medical examinations, Michael sat opposite his doctors and heard the news no young person ever wants to hear. He was diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's disease. It is a progressive neurological condition that gradually impairs the body's ability to control movement. At the time, Parkinson's was commonly regarded as a disease affecting older people. For an actor not yet 30, such a diagnosis felt almost impossible to accept. The moment he left the doctor's office, Michael felt as though his world had collapsed. Only hours earlier, he had been a film star at the height of his success. Now the future suddenly seemed uncertain. He later admitted that he could not understand why this had happened to him. The fear was not only about the disease itself, but about everything it might take away: his career, his family, and even the person he had always known himself to be. During those darkest days, Tracy Pollan was the only person who witnessed the full reality. While the public continued to see a cheerful Michael J. Fox on television and cinema screens, behind the doors of their home was a man struggling with confusion, anger, and despair. There were nights when he could not sleep. There were days when he tried to convince himself that the diagnosis had been a mistake, and there were moments when he felt completely defeated. Yet, rather than reveal the truth publicly, Michael chose silence. For the next 7 years, he kept his illness hidden from almost the entire world. He continued appearing on film sets, continued performing his roles, and continued smiling in public. Every day became a performance not only for audiences, but also a battle to conceal what was happening inside his own body. Tracy became the only companion who fully understood what her husband was facing. She could not change the diagnosis, nor could she stop the disease from progressing. But she remained there, quietly witnessing every fear, every crisis, and every attempt Michael made to rise again after feeling as though he had fallen. During those years, the world saw only the brilliance of a star. Tracy saw the battle that no camera ever recorded. Then in 1998, after 7 years of living with that heavy secret, Michael decided to tell the world the truth. But revealing his illness did not bring the peace many people expected. Instead, it marked only the beginning of an even more painful journey still waiting ahead. When Michael J. Fox publicly disclosed his Parkinson's diagnosis in 1998, many people believed the hardest part was over. He no longer had to hide his illness or live in fear of being discovered whenever he appeared in public. But reality proved entirely different. Speaking the truth did not make the battle any easier. It merely marked the moment when the disease began revealing its harshest consequences. The years that followed were filled with constant adjustments as Michael adapted to the changes in his body. His Parkinson's symptoms became increasingly noticeable, affecting his movement and balance. Then, another major challenge emerged. In 2018, doctors discovered a benign tumor growing in his spine. Without surgery, it could have caused serious damage to his ability to walk. The operation was successful, but recovery proved incredibly difficult. After the tumor was removed, Michael almost had to learn how to walk again from the beginning. Every step became a challenge. Simple movements that had once been automatic now required remarkable concentration and effort. It was a new battle layered on top of the one he had already been fighting for years. As if that were not enough, the gradual loss of balance made falls a frightening part of daily life, not once or twice, but repeatedly. On one occasion, he fractured his cheekbone. Another time, it was his hand. Then came injuries to his shoulder, arm, and elbow. Each injury brought months of treatment, pain, and rehabilitation. The most serious injury involved his right arm. The fall was so severe that surgeons had to stabilize the damaged bone using 19 screws and a metal plate. For many people, a single accident like that would be enough to alter the course of life. But for Michael, it was simply one more setback in a long series of challenges throughout his battle with illness. As time passed, he began speaking about the reality of living with Parkinson's with unusual honesty. There were no heroic images and no colorful stories of triumph. Michael once shared that his first task every morning upon waking was very simple: trying not to fall. It may sound like a small goal, but it accurately reflected his reality at that stage of life. Every peaceful day that passed without incident was a success. What moved many people was not merely that Michael continued appearing in public, but the way he accepted reality. He did not deny the pain, nor did he hide the increasingly obvious limitations of his body. Instead, he learned how to live alongside them. Yet throughout all those losses, one person remained constantly by his side, witnessing every operation, every recovery, and every fall that the world never saw. And after decades of quietly standing beside him through the darkness, Tracy Pollan finally decided to speak openly about what she had carried in her heart throughout nearly 40 years of marriage. For many years, the public viewed the marriage of Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan as one of the few remaining fairy tales in Hollywood. Amid highly publicized breakups and short-lived relationships, they stayed together, appeared side by side on red carpets, and consistently expressed their love for one another. From the outside, it looked like a relationship that had overcome every hardship. But after nearly 4 decades together, Tracy decided to share a different perspective. Not to destroy that beautiful image, but to reveal the truth behind it. She did not want her family's life to be turned into an overly perfect inspirational story. because, in her view, nothing they had experienced had ever been easy.